Welcome to We Read Wednesday. But it's Tuesday. No. Yes. So today is the 4th of April. Yeah. So, hey, guess what? We get to read the Billionaire Cinderella contract today. So we left off on page 47. I think that we need to get into this a little bit, right? So, let's see. What kind of updates do I have? Nothing. Nothing major, I took an assessment yesterday to find out my knowledge about how to take care of people with dementia, something about Hoyer lifts, and how to help a patient walk with a cane. So that was an interesting assessment. Opened up a new bank account, which was okay after a million questions. Not really that many, but maybe not even 1% of that. But yeah, it was lengthy. And then I got a chance to ride like so many buses all day yesterday. Taking public transportation, it has its perks. And it doesn't. It just takes you forever to get anywhere. But it was free, so hey, can't ask for nothing better, right? So we left off on page 47. I still have a little bit of allergies, so if you hear me hack up a lung over here or make some interesting noises with my throat and my sniffles, forgive me ahead of time. So let's go ahead, and I'm just going to go back just a little bit. And here we go. Her glare deepened. And what the hell were you playing at, kissing me like that? How dare you? You do not kiss me. Not ever. He contemplated her coolly. We were in public. I made it very clear that I expect you to show me affection in public. It's what I'm paying you for. And I made it very clear, I'm not an escort. Do you refuse to kiss on stage if the role calls for it? Her pretty full lips clamped together, fury firing from the bright blue eyes. He held the gaze. Man, I can't talk today, you guys. He held the gaze and shook his head despairingly. I thought not. Since I already read this, I'm not really worried about it. So, yeah. Get used to the idea of us kissing in public. Oh, he likes PDA. Check him out. My Vida. When we are with my family, you will be glued to my side, if not to my mouth. I gotta wait just a minute. Lay one finger on me in private, and I swear to God. Her voice trailed off away as whatever threat she'd been about to utter vanished into the ether. Get over yourself, he drawled. The kiss meant nothing. If she could only see the tingling on his lips, still there from that one fleeting brush of their mouths, she would know it for the lie it was. Mercifully, his iron control hadn't let him down, and he stopped the tingles from spreading everywhere, more intimate. As it is, we are stuck together for the next few weeks, so grow up and get over it. Damn it, but this was the last thing he needed. He'd watched her perform on stage for the second night in a row and been as captivated as the first time. More so. He'd been unable to tear his eyes from her, unable to stop his mind running riot as he mentally undressed her, unable to stop his heart throbbing in response to her melodious singing. He could not afford to have his mind distracted. When they were in the villa, he needed to keep his wits about him and focus on finding the documents. The last thing he needed was to have his mind occupied with fantasies of Mia Caldwell, naked in the cells, in his body stirring and straining in anticipation of being alone with her. The action would go nowhere even if he wasn't trying his damnedest to stop his brother stealing everything from him and destroying the Delgado legacy. Look, we've made it to page 48 without casualties. Forget her criminal record and lack of money, both huge crosses against her for a man of his means and interest. Damien made it a point to only sleep with women he believed he could one day trust and whose interests aligned with his. That had been the basis of his parents' marriage, and it had served them well for 37 years. Only a fool would trust a chameleon who played make-believe for a living. Mia had never been to Canary Wharf before, far removed from the arty, if run-down area of London she called home. Canary Wharf was crammed with skyscrapers and mingled with converted iron buildings, and yachts and boats moored where the River Thames meandered. There was zero surprise to learn Damien owned a penthouse apartment in the tallest of the skyscrapers, or that the apartment itself was as far removed from her own home as its location. It was so much like she imagined that she couldn't help her bark of laughter when she stepped in it. "What's funny?" he asked. She shrugged and rummaged in her overnight bag for her phone. "It was just wondering where all your stuff was." Obviously, the apartment was ginormous and had the requisite exquisite views assessed by floor-to-floor ceiling windows across every wall overlooking the Thames. All the furniture was clearly bespoke. Everything was sparkling clean and white, apart from the polished oak flooring. Everything screamed money in flashing neon lights. So I already read that already, but, just going over it again, because I do that. 50. There just wasn't very much of it. The living area, which could fit her entire flat in it, contained the biggest television she'd ever seen. 2 white leather sofas and a glass coffee table. Approximately a mile away on the other side of the vast space was a glass dining table with 8 chairs. And that was it. "This is a base to sleep when I'm in London," he answered swiftly as he flipped a laptop open. "My home is in Buenos Aires." She pulled a face and turned her phone on. "I assumed you owned it." "I do own it. Now, excuse me a moment. I need to run a security check." "For what?" "To make sure no one has tried to enter my apartment." "What are you doing?" She held her phone up. "Say cheese." He blinked as the flash went off. "Did you just take a picture of me?" "I took a picture of my lover." She stressed the word for effect. "For my sister." Should I stress the effect for her? "I took a picture of my lover." She stressed the word for effect. "For my sister." Ignoring Damien's glower, she attached the picture to Amy's email and pressed send. Then she looked back at him and smiled brightly. "The location on my phone switched on, but just in case, I've sent her your address. So if my body is dumped in the Thames, the police will know where to find you." His jaw clenched so tightly she wouldn't have been surprised to see his bone poking out. "What have you told her?" "Amy?" "Only that I've met someone." She told her mother too. And it wasn't just for self-preservation. Mia didn't know if the press would ever publish pictures of her with Damien, but if they did, she wanted her family prepared for it. With any luck, the press Damien had told her would be camped outside for the villa for the party would be too intent on getting snaps of the glamorous playboy, Polo playing a Maliano, to bother with them. The last thing Mia wanted was for the paparazzi to focus on her while being seen on Damien's arm. Might bring the kind of attention usually reserved for celebrated film actresses. If Damien could dig out her old criminal record, what was to stop the press? It was too late now. Damien had made very clear she was committed. stuck between the devil and the deep blue sea. Her priority was to protect her family and herself, and in that order. Protecting her family came in many guises, and not adding undue worry to their shoulders was the biggest part of it. There was no way she could disappear for a week to Monte Claire and not have them worry. She felt awful about lying to them and building their hopes up that she'd finally met someone, but this was a lie of necessity. I thought you wanted the world to think we're in love. Batting her eyelashes, she smiled again and added that I can't pronounce it, you guys. I thought you wanted the world to think we were in love. Batting her eyelashes, she smiled again and theatrically added, "Our love will burn like a flame, and then it will sadly extinguish itself." There was zero amusement in his expression. "The terms of the non-disclosure agreement include your sister." Oh, you guys, I gotta go. I got somebody calling. Very, very important.